It's finally here. The wait is over. The ID Buzz has arrived. Sort of. We'll tell you what we mean. AMG get their hands on the EQE, and the Genesis GV60 has a boost button. But why is an SUV getting a boost button? We'll tell you. Stay tuned for the details as Blake and I go through some of the hot topics and talk about what it means. Okay, let's talk about the first story we've got for you this week, and that is, in its glorious camouflage still, the ID Buzz. Blake, tell us all about this.
I'm so excited. 50 years after that prototype, you know, the lead acid batteries and a 40-mile range on a good day, we've got the latest and greatest one. A couple of quick highlights for you, Martin, and then maybe you'll come in and talk a little bit about it. But the 82 kilowatt hour battery, 77 of which is usable. 150 kilowatt rear mounted motor, which is pretty nice. Good spacing as well. Huge boot, but it's actually a lot shorter than I was expecting. I think it's only 4.75 meters or something like that. A couple of different variants as well. We're going to get a cargo option where, you know, obviously a lot more space in the back with no seats, but then you get those bench seats in the front, so you can still get 3 passengers up front. I'm so excited about this, the MEB platform. Blake, stop talking. Martin, what do you make of it?
Well, I haven't driven it, and you haven't driven it. We've both got a mutual friend who's driven it, though. He's so lucky, and he raved about it on his channel. And the thing is, I think the thing about this is it's built on an MEB platform from VW. It's the car platform. So, yeah, you've seen the ID3, ID4, ID5, GTX. Yeah, it's that platform. So all of the reviews that I've seen so far say it drives more like a car than a van, but it's got the storage of a van. And I am so excited about this. In fact, on a recent video we made for this channel, we talked about city cars. We talked about the little Fiat 500e or the Honda E. And I did wonder, and I'd like to get your thought on this, is the perfect driveway, if you are so lucky to have 2 EVs in your driveway, and it's very fortunate if you do, is something like the ID Buzz for the big family tasks, and then a small city car for just doing your errands, maybe with, you know, maybe a kid in there as well, but maybe just when you want that small little city car that's maybe only got 120, 150 miles of range. What do you think? Is that the ultimate combo?
Well, are you asking me or the viewers?
Yeah.
No, I'm going to give you my opinion anyway.
Tell me.
You're pretty close there, Martin. I want the 7-seater option for the ID Buzz. I think US might even get that as the first launch when that comes out in 2023. We're not going to get it here in Europe for longer down the line. But yeah, that 7-seater ID Buzz. And you know what? I want a little Citroen AME right beside it. When I'm nipping down to the shops or I'm going up for a swim or something like that, you know, calling over to see a mate, I want a little Citroen AME. That's my dream driveway.
A friend recently, and he's had a few Teslas and things over the years, and I think he'd agree with you because he loves the Citroen AME. And you know what? Maybe Twizy fans would disagree. Maybe the Renault Twizy is the ideal car, although some would say less practical with the front and rear seats rather than side-by-side seats. So, hey, I will let everyone argue that in the comments below. We should probably move on, but still stay on the topic of VW and the big cheese. Herbert Diess, tell us about this.
Before I do that, just want to throw a little match in there. Is there a guy in Latvia or Lithuania who's talking about importing the Wuling into Europe?
What?
I'll say no more. Let's move on.
Hang on a minute. This is China's most popular car coming here. Right,
200,000 more units than the Tesla, you know, like last year. But someone told me that. I don't know how true it is. We need to look into more details, but something like that I would love.
Subscribe to the channel and make sure that you stay tuned, because in a future episode, we will get to the bottom of this story.
Yeah, it could be nonsense. But anyway, you asked me about Diess. Yeah, one of those AMA kind of Reddit sessions there. He just, people put questions to him, and he was talking about OTA updates for the ID range, but bi-directional charging as well. Did you see any of those details? Did you get to watch that, Martin?
I love it. I love the idea of the head of VW doing an AMA session. Ask me anything. Now, of course, he got thousands of questions, and I imagine he had a pretty good set of moderators. So he wasn't asked anything really, but these AMAs are never absolutely raw. So what we got answered, yes, it was filtered. And of course, this a lot was new news to people. Now, longtime followers of this channel will have heard us talk about this before. VW, I think the most recent one was maybe a month or 6 weeks ago, their press release saying that bidirectionality was coming this summer with an over-the-air update, but he talked about it again. That was new news for many people. So again, that was a surprise. But yeah, the cars are built with that functionality on the MEB platform, the ID models, with the big battery to start with, get bi-directionality. Now, yes, you've got to have the VW wall box, not wall box the company, but as in the hardware they'll sell you to slap on the side of your house. But it's interesting because, of course, yeah, they use the CCS combo plug, not CHAdeMO. And so to begin with, it'll be vehicle to home, not vehicle to grid, which is a subtle difference. But again, just amazing that we can use these huge energy stores on our driveways or outside of our houses to power a house. And that doesn't necessarily mean, I think, a lot of people talk about power cuts. Now, at the time of us recording this, we've just come out the end of 3 storms in a row for the first time. An interesting stat that I read, for the first time since we started naming storms, it's the first time that we've had 3 in a 7-day period. And despite trees coming down and power lines coming down, where I was, touch wood, the power stayed on. But lots of people did have power cuts. And again, the idea of being able to use your car in those situations where you just need to keep the freezer turned on so that you don't lose all of your food. Or, it's winter time right now. Just keep some light and heat on. If you've got family, etc. Just eases that worry of, hey, while the power's out, we've got power in the car. And that comes to the VW cars. So I'm dead excited about this.
Right. I think we move on now as well. Mercedes, let's just talk about it. I don't know if you've been a huge Mercedes fan all your life. Really excited to see the EQS, but the EQE was launched and AMG have got their hands on it now, and they're putting some serious performance into this. But just a quick reminder, what is the EQE as well? It's just the baby brother of the EQS, almost indistinguishable, Martin, to me anyway. But 100 kilowatt hour battery still in it, 90, I think it's a 90.6 kilowatt hours usable. So we're looking real world mileage in 350, maybe even higher. 215 kilowatts and 530 newton meters of torque. So a bit of a goer anyway, not Model 3 standard, but still quick enough. But AMG have got their hands on it, as I said. Martin, are you excited about this? What do you make of it?
I'm really interested in how AMG with Mercedes-Benz, also the M badge with BMW, manage in an electric world, because although I've never been a huge fan, I've never owned a Mercedes-Benz AMG version. What I understand from their cars is once AMG get their hands on it, they add drama, right? They add noise and combustion and just probably more bravado as well, you could say. And those cars become more bombastic. And that's what I understand AMG to be. How does that work in an electric world where you haven't got all that noise coming from exhaust pipes? I don't know. We'll wait and see. Yeah, these cars have got more of a power increase, 4.2 seconds, 0 to 60, 3.3 seconds for the quickest one, actually. And of course, some handling tweaks as well, air suspension, etc. So, but still, if they want to send you one, you are our chief car reviewer for this channel. If they want to, if there's one in Ireland and they want to get one to you, I'd love to hear your thoughts driving this around for I think you need it for a good 6 months, I would say, Mercedes-Benz. So just pop one to Blake if you would.
I'll take it. All right, send me on the AMG, the EQE AMG 53 4MATIC, but that's got 505 kilowatts power and 1,000 newton meters of torque. So seriously fast. It'll be really, really interesting to see when this comes out now, people putting it on the track and checking out that quarter mile times, the 0 to 62, and it'll be a bit like we've seen with the i4 M50. Tesla fans with the Model 3 performance going to get a bit of a shock. But interesting enough, the EQE is, I think anyway, once you look at go down, drill into the numbers, the footprint of the car is a lot closer to the Model S than it is to the Model 3. And then they're talking, well, look, Plaid will destroy it. Yes, it will. So that'll be really interesting to see how that plays out.
I will take you to task with something you said at the beginning of the segment, which one of my listeners took me to task on my own podcast about electric cars, and I called it the baby brother. And he very quickly said to me, there is nothing baby about this car. It is still a really big luxury sedan. And I'm like, oh yeah, like I use that phrase that you use. And of course, hey, it's not a small car, but yeah, I think it would still be more than enough for anyone that doesn't need the EQS. Now, but what about going into the more real world, more of a family car? And that would be the third version on the eGMP platform. So we've had the Hyundai Ioniq 5, the Kia EV6, and now from the same company, it's all part of the same Hyundai group, the Genesis GV60. Genesis, a new name to the European market. I wonder what buyers will make of that. Do they want the heritage, or does the EV transition mean that people are more willing to buy cars which aren't from the traditional car makers. Genesis GV60 is coming on that platform. 72.5 kilowatt hour usable battery, about 230 real world miles. But the performance of this is just going to be so fast, 0 to 62 miles an hour in like just over 4 seconds. So again, that is some really hot performance in a family SUV. What do you think about Genesis coming to the market? Do they need more heritage, or do you think people will take a risk, if that's the right word, on a new name?
It's a good point, and I wonder, is that why they've, if you take the aesthetics of the interiors, the light, we wouldn't call it light signatures, but the light patterns with it inside it, the boost button as well. So they're obviously trying to differentiate a little bit, because the other two are just so good, and they're so original in their appearance as well. You go, do we have space for that? And I would have been questioned that. I think the other two cars are better looking. But yeah, this is going to appeal to a lot of people. The idea of a boost button is just going to sell a few hundred cars alone. But you still get all the stat. You get your 11 kilowatt AC charge, and nearly, is it 235, 240 kilowatts on DC?
Exactly.
Decent range. This one, it looks like it's going to be a little bit shorter. Will it be smaller with better range? In the real world, it'll be interesting to see these things once we get it out on the road properly,
And facial recognition to even enter the car. And I've seen it in actually working in the rain, and it does work. This doesn't seem like tech for tech's sake. It does seem to work. You walk up to the car, it knows it's you, you open the door, and off you go. Of course, you can still use your phone as a key, and something as old-fashioned as a car key. I think they might even give you one of those as well. How old?
Will we stick with the parent company, though? I mentioned the e-Niro.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah, the sort of new e-Niro. I presume that when Ioniq 5 and Kia EV6 came out, it would be the de facto end of Hyundai Kona, Kia e-Niro. Not at all. Some refreshed pictures seen with a new two-tone at the C-pillar, which might not be to everyone's personal taste. What do you think?
No, I'm not a fan of it. I made a note of that while we were researching and planning to come on here to talk today. No, not a fan of it. Fair play for cars trying to differentiate themselves. I mean, you walk down the street now, and how many like grayscale SUVs do you see that look the same? So, hats off in that sense. Overall, I think, design, nice little refresh. Not mad about that thing at the C-pillar, as you said, though.
I think it's great those cars are sticking around. Now let's talk about Polestar. And 180 pre-configured cars are on their way down under. So if you want to get yourself a Polestar, and looking at all these news stories going around saying, well, if you custom order a car these days, it's going to take a year or 18 months, as we've been talking about on this channel, because of the supply chain issues and the chip shortages. So these cars, let me get this straight. Tell me if I'm right. These cars are built on the boat, on their way. Is that right?
Yeah, well, customers are going to start getting the cars in March. So that's, a really, really quick turnaround time. So obviously you don't just send off an email and the car turns up the next day. And so, yeah, they've been sent off. And I think it's just, for me anyway, this is part of a wider story about the Chinese manufacturers and how they're creating so many more brands, sub-brands. The standard of EVs it's so high now, when we look at Xpeng and NIO and some of these companies. But Polestar, going back to the parent company, it's a Chinese brand, but they're having spin-offs and they're hitting so many different countries now. It's just great to see. They entered Korea in January, wasn't it? And now Australia. So this is really going global. And for me, it just signifies a trend in world EVs.
Yeah, no, it's a really, really good point. All right, let's continue, because look, we're up against the time and we haven't even mentioned the T word yet. A new show with no Tesla couldn't possibly happen. We have got Tesla news. Firstly, huge congratulations to the Tesla team for making their 1 millionth 4680 cell back in January. This is the we talk about 4680. It's just the dimensions, the form factor, the baked bean tin size battery cell, which they're making, and other companies are making as well, which will be the suppliers to Tesla, but they're making their own ones. And those batteries, or those cells, will be made into batteries to go into, we think, the new Model Y. They all seem to be good cells. I imagine they'll be shipped to Giga Texas for being added to those Model Ys. We've seen more spy shots of Giga Texas coming out, drone footage of those early cars. We've seen them leaving on trailers, which I saw got people really excited on social media. That doesn't necessarily mean they're customer cars, but it might do, but it might not. So let's wait and see. And just some huge news about sales as well, now exceeding 500,000 since launch, more than half of that in the last 6 months. The Model Y is a real beast. And we finally get the right-hand drive version, which, as we're recording this, only a few days ago, they came off the boat in the port of Southampton, which is about 25 minutes in that direction for me. So I went up to have a look at them being unloaded because, you know, I'm a bit of a nerd. But I got to be honest, I was really excited to see a car that everyone else has had for a long time finally get the right-hand drive version. I'm sure you were as well.
Yeah. Maybe the ID Buzz is going to be replaced by the Model Y then on that list we were talking about. I don't know. Oh no! Let's not do that to ourselves. Let's move on from that. And when you said the T word at the start, I thought you were going to start talking about tacos. I was getting hungry, but no, it's Tesla. Okay.
Hey, it is almost lunchtime as we're recording this. Just very quickly, though, we'll talk about Extreme E, which is the electric racing series, and they want to launch a new series, Extreme H. That would be the hydrogen series in 2024. Now, of course, hydrogen is just another way of making an EV, except you carry your fuel on board. So rather than a very big battery full of electrons, you have a smaller battery and a hydrogen fuel cell as well. That creates electricity that goes into a smaller battery. That can be good for weight saving, can be good for filling up times as well. But I don't know if that's a little bit too soon. I don't feel like I've really got my head around Extreme E fully yet. Second season kicked off in the Desert X Prix in Saudi Arabia. Congratulations to Rosberg X Racing taking the win with 30 points. McLaren, of course, racing this year as well with a huge accident. And so good to see that those cars are built tough. Did you see that big rollover?
I did, and I saw the camera footage from inside, and it looks like I would if I got this tiny fender bender from the back. You know, it was just a little, because they're wrapped up so well, you know, with the padding, the helmets and stuff, the harnessing. It's great to see that that safety is so important to them.
Completely. And as you know, I've been up close and personal with those Extreme e-cars. You can check out the video on this channel. Have a look at the archive of videos that we've got. I had a good old wander around a very, very muddy final round of 2021. I had the boots on, and we got to see all sorts of things from the batteries and the cars, and we got really up close. And really, this channel was really welcomed into the pit and paddock area. Anyway, let's head off for another news episode. What are your highlights today? I'm going to have a think about mine while you give me yours.
Well, I know straight away. It's the ID Buzz.
Me too!
Yeah, it's snap. I'm glad I got in there first. Yeah. The 7-seater version that I'm trying to envisage in my mind now, and just how it's going to sit there in the driveway right beside my Citroen Ami. That's what I'm thinking about.
Alongside the Mercedes EQE that they're going to send you for test driving, yeah?
That's only for 6 months. That's only for 6 months.
Yeah. Maybe we'll make it a year, Mercedes. Anyway, let us know what you think about in the comments below. Hey, what cars would you like us to test drive with Blake in Ireland? What can we get on the channel? And what do you think about the stories we covered today? I would love to know. Also, join us on Facebook. There's a new group called Best Electric Vehicle. We'll be posting pictures and having discussions on all things electric. Thank you so much for watching once again. Hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so you never miss a show. Give us a thumbs up if you like it, and we'll make more like this one. And we'll both see you very soon.